Should we close down our common areas? Do we need a board vote to close the common area amenities? Can the board make this decision in an emergency meeting? Great questions. Okay, so first let's look at what each association has in terms of their common areas and what they're responsible for. Every association in Arizona is different, so it's really hard for me to give, like a bright line rule on this. But here's some thoughts. We represent a lot of large master plan communities in Arizona, and many of these associations have a lot of amenities like pools, and they have clubhouses, and they have gyms, and shuffleboard courts. I mean, there's a number of different amenities, and many of these associations are telling me, hey, we don't have the manpower to keep these clean, consistent with the Center for Disease Control standards. And so they are electing to close their common areas. So for the large master plan communities, I would say that in my experience of the many that have contacted me, I would say almost all of them are taking steps to do that at this time. And they're not closing them forever, right? They're just saying, till the end of March. And I think for those of us who are watching the news, I mean, Nordstrom's closing, Crate and Barrel, I mean, this is not something that is novel. This is happening all around us. So yes, you're going to get pushback. Of course you're going to get pushback. I mean, I was firefighting this all weekend where we had, people jumping fences and putting signs in their window saying this shouldn't be closed, whatever. I mean, I think as board members, this is where our leadership component comes in. We need to be leaders and be firm and say that we're doing this for the health and safety of everybody in our neighborhood. And we hope you understand we are evaluating the current circumstances on a daily and weekly basis. And we're going to keep communicating with you so that you are aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Now, what if you have an association that doesn't have a lot of those amenities? Maybe you just have a common area pool. Is this something that we should close the pool? And how do we do that? Because, how do we chain it? Do we deactivate the fobs if you're getting in through fobs? Again, I think your association really needs to look at this on a case-by-case basis. I would say a majority of our associations are closing their pools, and if they don't have the way and access to deactivate the fob, or they don't have a lock on it, it just has a latch pursuant to whatever the county requirements are, they are chaining it shut. Remember that if you're closing any of the amenities, great time to have excellent communication with your owners so that they understand the reasons why you're doing it, and they also are supportive of your decision. And remember that if people are critical, we just have to be firm and restate the reasons that we're doing it. Can the board make this decision by an emergency meeting? I would say that probably 95% of our boards are doing it that way. They are making quick decisions, and that is, it is an emergency, and they are making those decisions. Now remember, if your board's making that decision that way, be sure that you take minutes. If the decision was by email, make sure that you're printing out those emails, and then at the next regular board meeting of your association, you'll need to read into the record what that decision was, when it was taken, who made it, etc. And I do feel that it can be made by majority vote. What do we do if our board can't agree on whether or not to close down our common areas, our common amenities, such as pool, clubhouse, and gym? Okay, well, that's kind of a problem. Just like any time, majority rules. So if a majority of your board does not want to close down the pool or the gym or whatever, that's going to be what happens. But do I think that's a good idea? I think you need to look at all the facts and circumstances to determine what's right for your association. Obviously as a board, I do feel that you have an obligation and a fiduciary duty to make sure that your common areas are safe. And so we are encouraging you to do this, but ultimately it's up to you. And I hope that all of you will make good decisions so that you're protecting, the safety and the health of your residents.